It's good to be with you on the program this evening. We're going to look at what the Bible tells us about false reports. The Bible refers to it as slander. And it is one of the greatest sins listed in the Bible. The Bible says that the bearing of false witness is in fact an abomination, which is of the 4 degrees of sin. It is the greatest of them all. An abomination. You have the sinner, you have the evil, you have the wicked, and then you have the abominable. And he that soweth discord among the brethren, the Bible says, is an abomination. Now, what I want to do is I want to apply these scriptures to what's, again, taking place in our world now. And one of the major media frenzies that's taking place in the world, and that is the attack, so-called, the attack upon the media, and therefore the attack upon the greatest of privileges that we in America have, and that is the ability to speak, and the need for the media to be around to make sure that politicians stays in line. You've heard much, if you follow the news at all, you've heard much about this subject, as they are saying that the newly sworn in president is attacking the media and therefore attacking all of America's First Amendment rights. The problem is this, is that there is fake news. There's no question about that. The news is there to keep our politicians honest and keep our people straight. However, those who are given assignment to look over someone else to maintain their honesty, the people has to themselves, who's given charge to do that, be honest and without bias themselves. Again, we go to a principle that the Bible spells out for us very clear, and that is that Jesus said, "To whom much is given, much is required." So those who have access to multiple millions of homes, those that's entrusted with the media, must be honest and must be fair. Now, some of the facts that's out there today is this. We know that the media, the mainstream media, not some fringe group on the internet, but the mainstream media, we already know that they was aiding the Hillary Clinton campaign. They were working with the Clinton administration, as was proven, against Bernie Sanders. It was a rigged system. And then they turned their guns upon Donald Trump, and they fed questions of which the debates between Mr. Trump and Hillary Clinton took place. The media, CNN, and others fed Hillary Clinton the questions beforehand. That is cheating. Now, this media that is crying out today that, oh, we're being under attack and therefore the First Amendment is being under attack and it's a threat to the American people. This is the people who was cheating in a presidential election. Now, that's not hearsay. I don't deal with hearsay. I don't deal with possibilities in the future. All that I've ever presented to you is what has already been done, what they have already said, and what I can show you them saying. That's what I deal with. Where a man has been is most likely the telltale sign of where he is going. If we can show without question, without fear of it being refuted, if we can show the people doing what we are saying they are doing, if we can show the people saying what I am saying they're saying, then there leaves no room for argument. Now, the media is hollering that they are now being mistreated. They are being mistreated by a person, Donald Trump. They are being mistreated by a person of which they have continually lied on. Listen. A report that just come out the other day is this, that for the first 40 days of this man's presidency, 88% of the media reports against Donald Trump, 88% of the reports against him was not anti-Trump reports. 88% in the first 40 days of his administration, 88% of all news reports has been deemed hostile. That is unbelievable. And this is the bunch that is screaming that they are being mistreated. This is the bunch that fed questions in a presidential debate to Hillary Clinton. And this is the bunch that's saying they are being mistreated. This is the bunch who constantly drums up stories and lies against one man, bringing their full force of power and persuasion over multiple millions of people against this one man, not once a week, not once a day, but 24 hours a day around the circle. And they are the ones that are screaming that they are being mistreated. One of the facts is this, that 96% of all media campaign or all media donations to the presidential campaign, 96%, more than $340,000 from the media, 96% of them supported Hillary Clinton, fed questions to Hillary Clinton, and is now trying and attempting with all their might to sabotage the presidency of a president of the United States. But not only this, but they have now proven that 80+% of government employees, that's talking about inside the government, that's talking about intelligence, that's talking about down the line, that more than 80% donated to Hillary Clinton. So you have an entire media with their ability to reach out to multiple millions of people with slanderous lies, attacking a president of the United States. That didn't happen under Barack Obama. And the effects of Mr. Obama has not truly been felt yet. This is the media that to this day, 5-6 years after an act of war was declared against the United States of America and our embassy was attacked. You see, an embassy in a country is the property of that country. The Russian embassy in the United States of America is Russian property. The American embassy in Russia is American property. It is an act of war to attack an embassy. Not only is it an act of war to attack an embassy, but to take out the ambassador to that country, as they did with ours, and to do the horrible things they did to him. They beat him. They raped him with cattle prods. They set him on fire. And to this day, this media, who claims to be mistreated, has never pressed Barack Obama on even where he was the night that happened. Nobody knows. This is a man who gave the st world sponsor of world terrorism, Iran, $158 billion, and then sent another 1.7 billion through back channels in cash that nobody knows where it's at. Nobody knows what it's being used for, and it was against the law, for it is against the law for America to give cash to Iran. This bunch that's claiming they're being mistreated never once questioned Mr. Obama on what that money was for and why he was so eager to support people with billions of dollars, more money than we've given Israel since 1948. Those who was shouting death to America. This media Never questioned him. That's why I called Barack Obama for the 8 years that he was in office a special ed president. He was never challenged by this media for nothing. Look at the people that was with him. ABC News President Ben Sherwood, who is the brother of Elizabeth Sherwood Randall, who is was a top security advisor to President Obama. His counterpart at CBS News Division, President David Rhodes, is the brother, listen, the news division president for CBS. The news division president, David Rhodes, is the brother of Benjamin Rhodes, a key foreign policy specialist. Then there was CNN deputy, Washington bureau chief, Virginia Mosley. She's married to Tom Nides, who until earlier this year was the deputy secretary under Hillary Clinton. While House Secretary Jay Carney's wife is a veteran reporter for ABC. Vice President Biden's communications director is a former Post congressional reporter, is married to Neil King, who was one of the Wall Street Journal's top political reporters. And then there's Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes, the one who's still speaking for President Obama, married to one of the chief or presidents of one of the highest and most well-known news organizations in America. Now you see, a media who is supposedly created to keep an eye on government, and that's what we keep hearing, that we are the watchdogs for the American people. Democracy, they say, depends upon us, and the democracy of the United States is being attacked now because they're being called out for the liars and the fakes that they are. All of a sudden, the democracy, by those who could care less about the democracy of the United States, all of a sudden the democracy is under attack because they're being called out. Well, listen, a very clear point stands out. If you are, and if the media is designed to keep the truth coming to the American people about those that are in power, who has the ability to do great harm to the United States of America, then those media members should not be working for and working in the administrations of the government of which their First Amendment gives them the right to monitor. Now, anybody in the world, you don't want FBI agents and FBI officials. You don't want FBI officials investigating themselves. If I investigate myself, I'll never be found wrong. You don't want those who claim that their sole job is to keep America free by holding politicians' feet to the fire, working by dozens in a political administration. These are the people who are saying that their job is to investigate and to report the truth to the American people about those in power, while they at the highest levels of the power of those news organizations are working in that administration and with that administration. Now, do I have to explain to you why the man was never called out? Do I have to explain to you now that just some 40 days in to another president, the man is being abused? And just because he points out the fake news, all of a sudden we're hearing that somehow the democracy of the United States of America is somehow being challenged, when 88% of the news reports in the first 40 days of this man's presidency has been hostile against him. Now, what does the Bible say? What are scriptures that we could give to the reporters, to the news agencies? Number one that I've already quoted, that to whom much is given, much is required. If you are going to report, and if you're going to be what stands between the American people and corruption of power, then you need to stay out of the employment of that power you claim you are supposed to be monitoring. That's pretty simple. The Bible tells us of a man who sowed good seed. As he and his servants went to sleep, an enemy came in and sowed tares among them. The next day they found that tares had come up all in the midst of the wheat, and the people asked, "Did we not sow good seed?" And he said, "Yes, an enemy hath done this." Listen, I don't mind governments being challenged. I don't mind watchdogs being placed over them. But the watchdog that's placed over them can't be of them. Just that simple. There's room for different opinions in America. But the baseline and the root line has to be that we're all Americans. I would have no objection. Fact is, it's necessary to have two parties or more. Nobody has absolute truth in any matter. The putting together of heads and brains and coming up with ideas. And this guy's idea may be a little better than this guy's idea. And this particular branch of government or this party may have a slightly different approach to a particular fix of a problem than the other. But the root, the baseline has to be that they are all Americans fighting for the cause of America. And that's not what we have today. We have an anti-American party, a Democrat party that has become literally American haters. They hate the country. Given a chance to applaud a statement like we're going to put our people first. Who in God's name wouldn't do that? What nation on earth does not put their people first? It is the sworn responsibility of every congressman, of every senator, of every president, of everyone in public office, that they are to defend the United States of America against foreign and internal enemies. Why in the world would you refuse and protest, sit down, and not even clap over a statement that we're going to put America first? Why would you, if you was an American people, if you were American at heart, why in the world would you sit down and refuse to clap? Whenever a man says that I wasn't elected to represent the world, I was elected to represent the United States of America. That's what his sworn oath is. And every member of that Congress and Senate, that's what their sworn oath is. What is there not to clap about? What is there not to stand up about? If you want to see all the evidence that it takes, number one, that the media is a fake news organization, lying slanderers that needs to be called out because they are in fact the greatest threat to the American people. They are the ones that feed information to the American people. They are the ones that threaten democracy and this republic. There's no question about it. They have access to multiple millions of homes, and they are spouting out lies, slander, and hatred day after day, 24 hours a day, and working with and in the administrations and the places of government they say that they are responsible to expose. Now, if you don't believe that these people are un-American, watch just 3 of the clips that the Democrat refused to stand or even clap.
That America must put its own citizens first, because only then can we truly make America great again.
The whole left side of your screen there, you see sitting down dressed in white. God only knows what they all got together and dressed in white for, was the Democrats. What did they sit out? What did they sit down on? Refuse to clap? Refuse to stand? that a man said that putting Americans first is the only way to make America great? What is there to protest about that? If you are an American, and certainly if you are upholding the oath that you took. Second clip.
And will create tens of thousands of new American jobs.
To create hundreds of thousands of new American jobs. Look at the face of this woman. That is full contempt over what? Creating jobs for the American people? That's not only contempt you see in that face, that is hatred. And if this man survives 4 years in office, it will be a God-sent miracle.
It is not compassionate, but reckless to allow uncontrolled entry from places where proper vetting cannot occur.
Once again, he's not saying nobody can come into the country. He's saying the nations that cannot properly vet their people, the nations who has government in such disarray that they don't know who's coming, who's leaving, that if they can't vet the people, we have to. The simple acknowledgement that we must know who is coming in our country. Who would not applaud that? Who would not find reason to agree on that? These people are purely 100% anti-American, and the media is in their back pocket and their soldiers in arm. And as it's been said, they are in fact, the media, the greatest threat to the United States and its people.
My job is not to represent the world. My job is to represent the United States of America.
My job is to represent the people of the United States of America, not the world. And they all said it out. These are anti-American people. It's not just another wing of the government or another party. These people are anti-American, and they must be removed from office. The Bible tells us in the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 1, "Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put thine hand with the wicked and be an unrighteous witness." It tells us in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 27, "An ungodly man diggeth up evil, and in his lips there is a burning fire." That's all they do. They're not holding people honest. They dig and they search for any flaw in the man or the woman's life from 10 years back to 40 years back. Any piece of dirt that they can uncover for the purpose of slandering, not helping a country. There's a skeleton in every human being's closet that lives. Is the man doing a decent job? And so far, in just 40-something days, more than 100,000 jobs has already been added. And for some reason, these people don't like him. The media. And finally, in Proverbs 17:4, "A wicked doer giveth heed," or listens, "to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue." What that simply means is that in some ways, the liars are in fact a blessing. They are a blessing in the purging process, both in a church and in a nation. Because you see, the lie lovers, who generally sit back very passive, you never know who they are until the liar is turned loose. And when the liar is turned loose, the lie lover will be pulled to him like a magnet. It is the masterful art of manifestation. Our country is in trouble, and if ever a president needed prayer, it's the one that's there now. Most of the government's against him, almost all of the media is against him, and many within his own party is against him. It's not a fair deal, and we are witnessing a man and his family being abused.